Hello and welcome back to Catch and Cook California. I'm Kevin. Today's video is a combination of two different outings. The first one from the late summer with my good buddy Trevor, and the second one from early fall with my good friends Taku and Jocylin from Outdoor Chef Life. We're going out catching and cooking invasive bullfrogs. Let's go. The fall and the winter are some of the best seasons for finding edible wild mushrooms on the California coast. If you'd like to join me for a wild mushroom identification course, hit me up, catchandcookcalifornia.com. Today, we're going to start by making a frog gig. I'm going to use some bamboo, 3 steel rods about coat hanger diameter, a file, a hammer. I'm going to use a steel wedge as my anvil and bind it together with some duct tape. I'm going to start by pounding the end of the steel rods to flatten it out to make the tips of the gig. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's pretty barbed. A little bit off center, but not a big deal. Sharp as a blackberry thorn. This is not rocket science. Now, as is, these are way spread out. I want them closer together, so I'm just going to bend them. So I randomly bumped into my old buddy Trevor in town, so he's going to join us today. We're going to head out and try and gig some frogs. Yeah! Made it through. One piece of equipment you definitely want to have is a decent light. So I've got my light rigged up onto the frog gig itself. Listen closely and you'll hear the frogs. So I spend a lot of time scanning through these weeds until I line up on a shot. Boom! And there we go. First frog of the evening. Now I know this may look pretty brutal to some, but remember, these are invasive bullfrogs and they are incredibly detrimental to our local ecosystem. We'll talk a lot more about that here in a moment. He's somewhere right in there. I can't see him, but he's got to be a couple feet from you in there. Something our buddy Alex says is, don't leave fish to find fish. So we just left this incredibly productive patch over here where there's bullfrogs croaking like crazy to come over here and there's only like 2. So we're gonna go back over to that choir over there and see what's going on.
Right as I see them, they always just like get away.
Man, they are sneaky, aren't
Dude, they are. I'm like, how are you seeing that one? Then I'm like, oh, there he is. To get the leverage, I gotta be right next to him, you know?
Totally. I've lost like 5 of them already.
Dude, it's like, they're always like at the just the very tip of like my reach, you know? And I'm just like, oh.
Yep.
And then you're like trying to maneuver, and then paddle at the same time.
Honestly, dude, we should have both been in one boat. It would have been so much easier.
Straight
I could
up.
just paddle you right in.
Oh, dude, then you attack fully.
Exactly. To your left just a little bit. Right there. Yep. Oh man, bring him on over to me. That's awesome, bro. Dude, nice shot.
Alright.
Oh man. That was a tough one. Very nice.
They were flying right when I moved. Those little branches out of the way, I was like, there that. He's like staring right
Just
at me.
staring. Dude, that is an absolutely massive frog. Alright, I'm gonna dispatch him. What do you think?
I'm stoked. First go. I mean, first frog. Took me a couple goes. But, dude, it was well worth it. Well worth the paddle.
Hell
Biggest
yeah.
frog I've ever held, that's for sure.
Yeah, dude, that thing is massive. It's huge. Forearm for scale. That's a huge frog. The native range of the American bullfrog is actually in the southeastern United States, in the bluish teal color there. But they are an invasive species in all of these western states in the red here. This is a huge problem because American bullfrogs, due to their size, eat all kinds of native species, including birds, as seen in this picture. They even spread a skin disease that is not contagious or harmful to humans, but has killed thousands upon thousands of other local native amphibians. Now remember, not all frogs are bullfrogs, so these are coastal red-legged frogs. They have a reddish hue underneath their legs, as well as typically a black mask extending from their nose through their eye. This image depicts the foothill yellow-legged frog, but remember there's also a mountain yellow-legged frog. The red-legged frogs and yellow-legged frogs are completely protected, at least federally threatened, and that is in large part due to these invasive bullfrogs. It's a very peaceful experience out here. Everything is so calm, so quiet. You can hear the crickets, you can hear the frogs. Occasionally you'll hear a heron go by. The moon is a super moon and a blue moon, and there was smoke in the air, which is not great, but it made for a beautiful moonrise. And we've got some frogs, so success. Shout out to Hook to Cook, fellow YouTuber, check him out. Developed this perch pouch for bleeding your perch. He hooked me up at the Fisherman's Life Street Fair, and this is my first use of it. I think I've got 4 big bullfrogs in here already. Right on. It's the end of the season. It's a lot cooler right now. Frogs tend to favor the warmer weather, so we'll see if we can still find a few. Here we go.
Here we go, let's get these frog.
Let's do it. Today I'm joined by my old friends Taku and Jocylin from
What's up, guys?
Outdoor Chef Life.
Whew. Good to be back.
We're out here as a part of Taku and Jocylin's series that is deliciously invasive. If you haven't checked out their channel, Outdoor Chef Life, check it out. You'll love this series. It's all about them targeting invasive species just like these bullfrogs and then cooking them up in gourmet fashion. You need a valid fishing license to do this, even though it's an invasive species, but that's all you need, that and a good light. So as I mentioned, a good light is essential. Again, my light, I like to keep it on the actual frog gig. It's also a great idea to have one on the frog gig and a headlamp as well. Now I brought Taku and Jocylin out here to show them the ropes on frog gigging, and funny enough, I only got one. It was a nice one, but I only got one. But luckily, Taku was on point.
Yes. Yes, dude. Yes.
I can't even tell you how happy that makes me. What we did was we put a knife through the brain after smacking it in the head, and I also severed the backbone. That's the easiest way to kill these guys. They're harder to kill than a monkey-faced eel, and that's saying something. So I kind of give them the triple tap, and that way they're not moving in the morning. If you just put one through the brain or just hit them in the head, they will absolutely be alive. And you'll see that the nerves are still moving. Even when we take the legs off, we're gonna put these in salt water, and you're gonna see them kick like crazy. So we're gonna go just above the pelvis right here. We're We're just gonna make a cut down, and then I'm just gonna give this a smack to get through the backbone. Cut that, and get rid of this part, and this is what we're after. So you can make a little cut right here, going between the dark and lighter skin here, just to separate it out a little bit. But we don't have pliers today, so what I really want to do is just kind of get my fingers between the skin and the meat. This is also much easier when the frog is fresh caught. This one we got last night, so it's going to be a little bit harder. But you're basically just using your hands to separate between the skin and the meat. Taking off the pants. And we're going to bring it right down to the joint here where the foot is. And then you're just going to pop right between the joint here to sever that out. Just like you would with chicken. We'll give this a solid rinse, but that right there is nice, white, clean frog meat. Frogs, as well as turtles, if you're going for invasive turtle species, they carry salmonella on their skin. So you want to make sure when you clean them off that you get them into salt water. Of course, the salt water causes all kinds of reactions with the muscle, and so it causes it to kick like crazy, which is a little weird. If you want to see the Thai-style frog legs that Taku made, you'll have to check out his channel, Outdoor Chef Life. But for today's video, I met back up with my good buddy Trevor to make frog legs Chinese style. I started with a super simple cabbage dish. It's just cabbage, salt, oil, and garlic. Saute that up, nothing crazy, and then get yourself some rice going. You leave the rice unseasoned because the frog legs themselves will have a tremendous amount of flavor on them. I dusted the frog legs in cornstarch and fried them until they were golden brown. Once I set those aside, I start my sauce, and my sauce is incredibly simple. All we're going to do is add in some rough chopped green onions, rough chopped garlic, and rough chopped ginger. To this, we add a splash of Chinese cooking wine, a splash of soy sauce, a splash of oyster sauce, some chili garlic sauce, and some brown sugar. We're going to mix all this up until it thickens, and we're going to toss those frog legs into the mix. Once you get them fully coated, out they come, and we'll plate them up. Garnish with some green onions. We're going to finish it off with a little chili kelp crisp oil. And enjoy. Down in the creek, Asian style frog legs with my homie Trevor.
Thank you.
I'm getting right into the frog leg
first. I'm going to go for it too.
I'm not gonna lie, it smells like chicken, and it tastes like chicken.
It totally does. It totally does.
When you were cooking it, remember I told you, I was like, it smells like the fair.
Yeah, dude, it's like fried chicken. Dude, that's crazy. Just
good.
Like chicken. Yeah, it is good.
It was fried up perfect too, just that part right there. That's the one.
Sometimes it has like a more of a fishy kind of a texture, but this totally has chicken.
I feel like the sauce too makes it really like, hell. That's so good. It was so good. I was surprised, man, the amount of meat too. But those frogs were big.
They were huge, dude.
Biggest frogs I've ever seen.
Dude.
In our area that we grew up in, for sure.
Yeah. You stretch them out, they would have totally hung like a head and feet off the cutting board. All right. Well, this is absolutely delicious.
It is.
We're going to polish this off, and we'll see you in the next episode. So, until next time, keep the old ways alive. Cornish game hen?
Yeah.
If Cornish game hens did that when you threw them in salt water, I don't think people would eat Cornish game hens very often. Keep the old ways alive. Oh wait, keep the old ways alive. There's the camera.